Andy. So, good afternoon. My name is Nikki Griffith. I'm an AFC candidate. And as Andy mentioned, I have a lot of information to share. At the end, I will put a PDF of the presentation in the chat. So don't worry about taking notes or if I talk too quick trying to get through it. So I will dive right in. So the agenda for today, we're going to talk about how does the Social Security Administration calculate benefits, 3 topics you should discuss with your clients, Social Security benefits for spouses, ex-spouses, and widows. There are a lot of different rules. Claiming age benefits, examples. So these are some real life examples I'll share with you. And then how to determine the taxable portion of Social Security. So here's a little quote. Don't simply retire from something, have something to retire to. And as financial counselors, we can assist our clients in maximizing Social Security benefits to provide a solid financial foundation in their retirement. So here's a little chart of some examples of 2023 Social Security retirement benefit statistics. You'll see the maximum benefit, it was $3,627. That only totals $43,524 for a year. So Social Security should really only be a part of your client's retirement income. And then you'll look at how the widower benefit is less than the average monthly benefit and definitely less than the couple's benefit. On average, women are expected to live 5.8 years longer than men. And this average widower benefit is really only 140% of the federal poverty income level. So when assisting clients, maximizing the widow benefit should be a priority. So most of you know that you have to work for at least 40 quarters or 10 years to be eligible for Social Security retirement benefits. But do you know how it's calculated? So this is a very busy and complicated chart, but we'll break it down. The primary insurance amount, or the PIA, at full retirement age, or FRA, is the average of the 35 highest earning years. So what that means is that the average US wage, the year that your client turns 60, is divided into the average US wage for each of their earning years. So for example, if the average wage that you turn 60 is $50,000, and the average wage the very first year you ever worked was $25,000, that index would be 2. And so that index is then multiplied by the retiree's actual earnings for the year. And so they take those indexed earnings for the highest 35 years, and that monthly average is then totaled up. And the more years that you work, the more chances that you can replace some of your low earning years when you first started or maybe only worked a partial year. So the primary insurance amount includes 3 parts, or what the Social Security Administration calls bend points. Bend point 1 is up to 1,174 of your average monthly earning. So that would only equal $14,088. But you can see how the phase out the portion of your income that is going to apply to your Social Security benefit. This phase out reduces benefits for higher earners. For bend point 2, that goes through earning an average income of $84,936. So most of the entire country, as well as your clients, is going to fall into this, adding the 90% and the 32%. The 15% does not apply to very many clients. Now, here's a graphic that I like to share with my clients, and it helps the clients visualize the ramifications of their claiming age decisions. So if they decide that they want to retire at age 62, they're only going to receive 70% of their full retirement age benefit. And you can see if you delay your retirement age, you're permitted to delay for many years, but your benefit is increased 8% for each year that you delay. Now, financial planners often emphasize this guaranteed 8% growth is hard to beat in the stock market, but it may not be the best option for your client. So that's where we get into the 3 important Social Security decision topics to discuss with your clients. So the first topic you should discuss with your clients is health, not only their own health, but their family health history and the longevity of their family. Now, according to the CDC in 2021,
Recording in progress.
the average life expectancy for a woman in the US was 79 years versus 73 for a man. If you're no longer able to continue working due to health issues, you or your client may need to claim Social Security before reaching full retirement age. So that may not be an option for you. Also consider the wealth of the client. If they are lucky enough to receive pensions or have other retirement income available to them, should claiming Social Security be deferred to maximize the benefit? Many will get that advice. But spending down all of your other retirement assets will reduce the inheritance that you'll be able to pass on to children, grandchildren, give to charity. So that's another consideration to discuss. And finally, marital status. Determining when to claim Social Security should be a household decision so that they can maximize the survivor or widower benefits. And we'll have more examples of that further in the presentation. And not only can spouses, but also ex-spouses may be eligible for spousal and survivor benefits. So here we'll get into some of the details on that. Women represent over 50% of beneficiaries over age 62. And by the age of 85, women represent 75% of beneficiaries. According to the National Institute for Retirement Security, at age 85, the rate of economic insecurity is 36% for couples, 46% for single men, and 61% for single women. So this is why maximizing the benefits for survivors is important to discuss with your clients. So the spousal benefit rules. You must have been married for at least 1 continuous year before filing benefits. And the maximum spousal benefit is 50% of what the spouse would receive at full retirement age. If your spouse claims before they reach full retirement age, there's no reduction in your spousal benefit if you wait until your retirement age. But if you claim, the spouse claims the spousal benefit before they reach the full retirement age, the benefit can be reduced to only 32% at age 62. Of course, it'll increase for each year you delay. And in the past, there had been an option that you could start claiming with a spousal benefit, and then you could transfer to you a benefit based upon your own work history. but that no longer exists. So if you have clients asking about that, that's an option that no longer exists. And ex-spouse benefits. Many are not aware that this exists. So the marriage must have lasted for at least 10 consecutive years. And you're eligible to receive 50% spousal benefit from your first marriage if you remain unmarried, or you have a second marriage that has ended in divorce as well by the time that you claim Social Security. If your ex-spouse remarries, it does not affect your spousal benefit at all. You're not eligible for this until the ex-spouse reaches age 62 or is disabled. And you're eligible for the survivor benefit, which is 100% of that ex-spouse's full retirement age. Again, from your first marriage if you remain unmarried, your second marriage has ended, or you remarry after age 60. So this is an important qualification to remember because survivor benefits can be quite beneficial. You're also eligible for this benefit at age 60 or age 50 if you are disabled. And again, many believe that the amount of their benefit from the ex-spouse is reduced if the ex-spouse gets remarried. It is not. It does not affect it at all. And now survivor benefits. So in order to receive survivor benefits, if you're still married to that spouse, you must be married at least 9 months at the time of the death. Again, you become eligible at age 60, but if you claim at age 60, your benefit may be reduced to only 71%, 71.5%, versus you would get that full 100% if you waited until your own full retirement age. If the deceased passed away prior to their full retirement age and had already claimed those benefits, you're still entitled to 100% of their full retirement age benefit. If the deceased claimed after their full retirement age and they're getting that higher 108%, then you as the survivor are entitled to that higher benefit. And also, if the deceased claimed before their full retirement age, you would be subject to a widower limit. And that's a complicated analysis. So again, go to the Social Security Administration website and get all the details on that. And you may claim an early reduced survivor benefit and then switch to your own full retirement benefit, or you could do vice versa. So that still applies. The survivor benefit, you can switch, whereas it no longer applies for the spousal. And just a rule of thumb, the survivor benefit is reduced by approximately 4% for every year that you claim prior to that full retirement age, which is generally 67. So now here are some examples of how claiming age can affect benefits. So our first example is Greg, and Greg is self-employed, and therefore he must pay both the employer and the employee share of Social Security and Medicare taxes, which totals out at a whopping 15.3% of his income. So he received advice from his accountant that in order to minimize this payroll tax, he should structure his small business so that he gets dividends rather than a salary. So by minimizing his salary, by the time he decides to retire, his Social Security benefit would be rather minimal. So minimizing these self-employment taxes intentionally can be a bit short-sighted. Unless Greg invests those tax savings into a self-employed retirement plan like a SEP or a simple IRA, he may not have enough money to retire and stop working. Next, we have Ivy and John. So they're a married couple approaching retirement. And John has a longer work history and has also had higher earnings over his lifetime than Ivy has. So John's Social Security benefit would be larger, and he chose to delay claiming until age 70 so he could maximize his benefit, which would be $2,261 a month at age 70 versus $1,800 a month at age 67. So if John passes away, this larger Social Security benefit would then become Ivy's survivor benefit. So she would make $461 more in retirement if John delays. So Ivy actually decides to stop working and claim Social Security benefit at age 65. And so her benefit amount is going to be reduced for the rest of her life. So rather than the $1,600 she would have received at her full retirement age, she only receives $1,387. But she will automatically receive John's increased benefit if John passes away prior to her. And that's automatic. It's not anything that needs to be filed for. So both are the same age and in good health, but statistically, Ivy is expected to outlive John by nearly 6 years. So they make the decision that John would delay. And Ivy's benefit by starting at age 65 will then help cover the Medicare premiums that they'll be required to start paying at age 65. And next we have Claire. So Claire is recently widowed and she's 61 years old. She had left her full-time job to help with her spouse's medical issues over the past year. So she started working just part-time to continue to have some income. She plans to continue that part-time employment. And she also was the beneficiary of her spouse's life insurance policy. So in her mind, she can afford to wait until she turns 62 and claim a reduced Social Security benefit based upon her own work history. So she'll be receiving 70% of her own benefit. Her own benefit would have been $1,500, but instead she'll receive that $1,050. And there's also a limit that she can only earn $22,300 on her part-time job in order to not have a Social Security benefit reduction. So she keeps that in mind. And then once Claire reaches her full retirement age of 67, she then switches from that $1,050 a month over to claiming her survivor benefit. And the survivor benefit is based on, again, what the full retirement age benefit would have been for her deceased spouse. So by delaying that benefit for 6 years, she's going to receive $1,900 a month versus $1,436 a month. And she collects $63,000 in benefits over those 6 years based upon her own history. And determining the break even of whether it was more beneficial to claim on her own first or use her survivor benefit first. If Claire lives to at least age 75, she would fully benefit from making that delayed decision. That's where she would begin earning $245,000 in Social Security income versus $241,000 the opposite way. So Claire is in good health. Her children are grown, and both of her parents are still living in their mid-80s. So she makes the decision that it would be more beneficial for her to delay her survivor benefits. And then finally, we have Lucas, who has a short employment record. So he was the main caregiver for his children for 10 years, and he will only have 33 years of earnings when he turns 67. Remember, Social Security Administration calculates your benefit based on the top 35 years of earnings. So he'll have 2 years of zeros in there, which would make his average smaller. So by working until he is 69, Lucas will increase his average earnings by then having 35 years in the calculation, but he'll also receive a 16% boost because he's now delayed it 2 years beyond his full retirement age. So rather than receiving $1,800 if he would have retired at 67, he now will be receiving $2,300 per month based on an average $45,000 annual income. So you can see that's quite a noticeable difference by delaying that tiny bit of years. So now on to our final topic, determining the taxable portion of your Social Security benefit. So the Social Security benefit taxability is determined by combined income. So that is your adjusted gross income from your tax return, your client's tax return, which is all your income minus your health savings account distributions, your IRA distributions, your SEP distributions, and then here's some other, it doesn't include Roth IRA, but it will include pensions. For those that are fortunate enough to receive pension, that will most likely push your Social Security into being taxed. So in addition to your adjusted gross income, then you have to add back in any non-taxable interest. So any municipal or government bonds where you're receiving tax-free interest, well, now you have to add it back in, and it's being pushing your Social Security into taxable. So you add these 3 things up, and that's how you come up with your combined income. So if you are single at that time and that combined income totals more than $25,000, then your Social Security benefits would not be taxed. If that 3 things combined is in between $25,000 and $34,000, then you would have to pay federal income taxes on 50% of your benefits. And for a single person, a combined income over $34,000, you would then be paying the maximum federal income tax on 85% of your Social Security. Now, just as a comparison, these income cutoffs have not been increased since 1993. And inflation has increased nearly 113% over those 30 years. So in other words, that $25,000 income in 1993 is the equivalent of $53,250 today. And then just a little blurb on the bottom about the states that do not tax Social Security benefits. Or I'm sorry, these are the 11 states that do. So you may want to avoid these. So in summary, helping your clients to understand the Social Security benefits they are entitled to will help them be on a firm financial footing. Definitely encourage your clients to create an account at ssa.gov, and then they can see, get an estimated benefit statement to get an idea of how much they will receive in retirement. And just as an example, Social Security Administration, they did a random sample in 2018, looking at the advice that the claims representatives had provided to claimants that were entitled to both a retirement benefit and a survivor benefit, and then what advice they had given them as to which one they should be claiming. In 82% of those, the claims representative did not provide the best advice to the claimant. That's why it's important that we educate our clients so that they know what they should be entitled to and can say, no, that's wrong. So I know that was a lot of information to comprehend. I will now look at the chat because I wanted to make sure I got through everything and see if there are any
I think
questions.
the major question is the last one there. But I do want to say one of the things that we talked about was the pension and how the pension on 2 slides ago affects that number, because it does.
Yes,
The pension is because we do have a lot of military people, military affiliated people in here. And that military pension or any other pension is going to count as income when it comes to Social Security and Social Security being taxed.
correct.
All right. So Herbie had a question here. A lot of it has to do with whether or not you're reporting that on your taxes.
So I'm trying to find his.
Oh, it's all the way at the bottom of chat.
Okay.
Now there's 2 more.
Anything prevent someone to receive, like if someone started a side hustle, an investment that started to make a larger amount. So there is, if you claim prior to your full retirement age, that was that $22,000 maximum income that you can get without your Social Security benefit being reduced. It wouldn't make you, it would have to be pretty substantial side hustle to make it be zero. But once you reach full retirement age, you can have as much other side income as you want. Yes, Steve Gay said that, correct?
Can you clarify? So a widow, no, wrong. So someone who hasn't worked or worked little during their lifetimes is trying to take half their spousal benefit. But that doesn't increase after full retirement age. Is that correct?
So the spousal benefit, I believe if you're going to get 50% of what your spouse's is. And so.
But there's no advantage to waiting to claim that later. Because
right,
it never
the full
goes
retirement,
up.
it's going to be 50% of the full retirement age, right, Nikki?
It's never going to be more.
It could, that's what, I'm double checking the rules because I want to make sure I give you the right answer. To see if that one can increase if they delay.
I'm pretty sure that it doesn't. That's why I asked the question. When I talk with people, that is a misconception.
Yeah.
Right. So there's no benefit for the spouse to wait an additional 3 years because their benefit's not going to ever go above half the full retirement age.
Correct. If you're claiming spousal, correct.
Right. But many of us, aren't going to, our own Social Security is going to be more than our spouse's.
I feel like that's
certainly
more so the case in this. Yes.
Half of our spouses.